Welcome to Hey, It's Carly Rae's Book Club. This is Book Hour, where authors will talk their latest novels, reveal their writing process, and play some fun book games. I'm your host, Carly Rae. Today we have actress and author Reagan Pasternak. We're going to be talking about her upcoming book, Griffin's Heart, if keeping a journal is how she crafted this book, what her most cherished chapter is, and find out why she decided to branch out and release a book. Because we're going to see if Reagan is smarter than a fifth grader when we play Game Time. We'll jump in right after this. Reagan, tell us where you're joining us from.
How are you? I am here in Los Angeles and in my bedroom. So welcome to my bedroom.
Are you ready for Christmas?
Oh my gosh. I've been ready since Thanksgiving. I am Christmas crazy and I'm Jewish. So that's the funny twist to that. But yeah, so I'm completely obsessed with Christmas because I didn't really celebrate it growing up too much. So yeah, I'm psyched about it. And I have a little 8-year-old boy who's all into Elf on the Shelf and Santa, and it's just amazing and magical, and I love it.
Are you always on Pinterest looking at ways of where to put the little elf?
You know, I haven't done that this year, but I've done that previous years. It becomes clockwork. It's automatic now. So.
Well, I'm so excited to have you on Book Hour. Your book, Griffin's Heart, pictured here, is for anyone who has ever loved and lost a pet. Tell us more about Griffin's Heart.
Griffin's Heart is it's part memoir and it's part interactive grief guide with journaling and exercises and a way to explore your grief. And then at the end, it is a keepsake because there are also places for photos, and we really tried to make it beautiful and great quality, and so that people can have a way to commemorate their animals. And when you're done the book, you and I together have created a little memorial for your animal. So it's a lot of things all in one.
Yeah. Now, how did you craft Griffin's Heart? Did you keep a daily journal and use your notes to craft this book?
So when you read the book, you kind of start to see how I've always been a journaler. I'm a journal freak, and so journaler freak. And so I've always have kept notes of everything. I'm always trying to understand my brain, and that always helps me. So that was definitely a part of it. But after I lost my sweet little soulmate animal, Griffin, I was so sad and in pain, and also needed to keep going with life and daily, normal things. And I was burying the pain. And finally, when I realized that I didn't have to, that mourning is actually quite beautiful and helpful, and you don't need to put pain away, I started realizing that I needed to communicate that with people. So I started writing, and this was a long time ago now. It's almost 10 years ago. I started writing parts of the book, and I just knew I needed to keep writing it. And so it was partly journaling, but it was also recording, my thoughts and ideas for a long time. And then I would all constantly put it away, and then it would be nagging at me to finish it because I would meet somebody else who was feeling exactly how I had felt. And so, yeah, and I just kept coming back to it. And then about 2 years ago, I was like, no, I'm going to finish this. And I just committed to it. So yeah, a lot of it came from journaling. A lot of it came from just years of more ideas came to me, of what it was going to be, what the book was going to be. It wasn't just going to be my story. It was going to be a lot of other things involved as well.
Yeah. Now, do you have a most cherished chapter you're eager for readers to read?
So it's hard to say that because I really believe this book works as a whole. If you looked at just one chapter, you might be like, what is this book about? There's so many things, and they really, I really, really put thought and heart into leading the reader into each next chapter. Almost you're not ready for this chapter if you hadn't read the chapter before it. But that said, if I had to pick, I think my favorite chapter might be the one, and this might make you think this is what the book's about, and it's not. It's about so many things, but my favorite might be Afterlife, because as somebody who grew up very secular with no real religion, I was more about academics, and I really had to kind of dig deep into what I thought about all of that, about the afterlife, and how I felt about other people who have such strong beliefs in the afterlife. And my first pass at that was a short little chapter of, this might be the afterlife. Let's put in the scientific, skew on it all. And my editor just said, no, that's not going to do. You got to dig deeper than that, Reagan. And that's very flippant. That's literally what she told me. And she said, I know that you think more about this than that. And she was right. And I actually did have to kind of really be vulnerable in that chapter, very vulnerable, which is hard and also fun and freeing at the same time. So that one ended up being my favorite chapter. I feel like I still think about it now.
Yeah. And did it make you grow as like a writer too?
Definitely made me grow as a writer. Those are those moments that because I'm an actress through and through. That's kind of what I've always been. I'm an artist, that's what I am. But writing, I don't know if I'm a writer like in my soul, but I needed to write this book. Yeah. So it was interesting. It was such a process for me to push myself. And those were the moments that I just thought it would come out in these ways. First I'd be frustrated and I would think it was terrible and these things and then they would just click and it would flow out of me. And it really is a state that you're in, like a flow state. And I think any writer will go, yes, I know what you're talking about, when it just clicks and it's beautiful when it happens, right? It's the best feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what made you decide to write Griffin's Heart?
Well, when I lost my sweet soulmate animal again, my heart was just so broken, and it was truly like a loud feeling in my gut that I remember I was in New Mexico visiting my he was my boyfriend at the time, but my husband's parents in New Mexico, and we were in the casita, and I was so heartbroken and I couldn't talk about it. I felt like people would be like, "Oh, come on, get over it. It's it's an animal. You gotta move on." And I just remember thinking, I need to write this. This needs to be a book. And those were the seeds that were planted. And then as the years went by, I am a bookworm. I am like nonstop reading, and I barely sleep. And now that there's Kindles, it's like my mind is, it's a problem. Maybe. I don't know if it's a problem. It's a good problem, right? Yeah. But I'm so nonstop reading, and I just kept getting more and more from the authors that I was inspired by. I just thought, I know what this book is really supposed to be now. I just kept realizing it was supposed to be, it just started coming together and ended up being what it is now. So that's a long answer, but that's kind of how I ended up finally really buckling down and doing it.
Yeah. Now, is there one thing you hope readers take away from this book?
I hope that they feel heard. I hope they feel validated. I hope they feel proud of themselves for taking the time to honor I call them beings in the book. That's their pets, their animals. And I hope they feel a little bit of closure. That's my wish.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, you heard Reagan talk all things Griffin's Heart. Stay tuned, because when we return, we're going to find out why this amazing actress decided to branch out and write a book.
I'm Reagan Pasternak. I am the author of Griffin's Heart, Mourning Your Pet with No Apologies. I started writing Griffin's Heart because after my own soulmate animal, Griffin, died, I was completely shattered, and I just couldn't quite find the resources that I needed to heal. Griffin's Heart is more than a book. My story is definitely in there, but it is also an interactive grief guide, and it has places for photos and journaling and healing exercises. And my hope is that at the end of the book, you have your own story in there, and you have your own tribute to your animal. So it's a keepsake. I would love to hear from you. I'm on Instagram at Reagan J. Pasternak, and we also have started a page at Griffin's Heart Book where I will be collecting your stories and your tributes, eulogies, photos, anything that you want to share, and we can start a little community and have a collective memorial, if you will. I'm so looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you for listening, and let me know what you think of the book.
Welcome back to Book Hour. I'm your host, CarlyRae, here with actress and author Reagan Pasternak. Now, Reagan, you are a well-known actress, having appeared on Disney's In a Heartbeat, MTV's Jailbait, Hallmark's A Christmas Visitor, and many more. We heard why you decided to branch out and write a book. Now, walk us through your writing process.
Yeah. So, that was interesting because I started right after Griffin died, or a few months after Griffin died. And then I would start writing. I would write little parts, but I didn't know where the book was going. And I did have the mean voice in my head going, who do you think you are? You can't write a book. I had all of that going through my head. And of course, trying to balance also my work with writing. But then, I kept coming back to it. And then truly, I think 2 years ago, my husband, who has a marketing company, he was at an Amazon conference, and I think it inspired him in certain ways. And he'd watched this woman who'd written a journal talking about, just how she did this whole thing on her own, and it was quite inspiring. And I was sitting out in my living room, and he came out in the morning, and he just looked at me and goes, "You need to finish that book." He said, it is so true to who you are. And he's like, "Enough, you got to do it." And it just kind of clicked. And I just thought, yeah, you're right. I need to finish the book. And so I literally Googled, how do you finish a book? And it gave like 5 steps of, set your writing time, set your, the limit that you're going to write a day, what to do when you get stuck in idea. It sounds so simple to, I'm sure, the people who are brilliant writers watching your show. But it was so obvious, the steps, and they were also so helpful. And I'm also a pretty self-driven person. So I just committed, and rain or shine, I set up my little spot. I put out a photo of Griffin, I lit a candle every single day. And I had a new little kitten with me at that time. He curled up with me every day, and I just wrote. I wrote a minimum of 2 hours. So sometimes I went way over that, but I never ever went under it. And it just all started flowing from there.
Yeah. Now, what was the process like in finding a literary agent? Did you have to query the book for a while?
So we went a whole other route. I was in a bit of a different position because my husband had a marketing company. So he really knows how to do online marketing. He knows how to reverse engineer products. He does it all the time for people. So I did speak with one literary agent, and he was super excited. He was happy to represent the book and go for it. I got lucky. And also because it's such a niche audience, because of animal lovers, it's millions and millions and millions of people. So I am a bit of a control freak, and I had a very, very clear vision of what I wanted. And I just didn't want anyone having any control over it except for us, at least at the at this stage. That's how we were at this stage. And I knew what I wanted the cover to be. I knew what I wanted it to be. And my husband is also very artistic, and we both just knew exactly what we wanted. And we decided to form our own company called Creatures Align, which we eventually want to be a .org. And it will be actually very, very soon. And we wanted to do everything on our own and give to charity. And we wanted it to become bigger then, because again, it's not just a book. It is a book, but it's also so much more than that. It's such a product. It's a gift. It's a keepsake. It's all those kinds of things. And we wanted to make sure it stayed authentic, because I cannot stray from my, it sounds so cheesy, but my integrity is everything to me. And so I wanted, if somebody hates this book, I just want it to be because they really hated what I really put out there. And if they love it, then it's going to be because they identify with me. And I just didn't want anyone else's hand going into that. And I also had such an incredible editor working with me already. She's a best-selling New York Times author. And I just thought, I just didn't want anybody else involved. So it's going to be bigger than that. I'm bigger than just this book. I want it to be a way for people to connect with each other and a big picture. And so all that to say, we did everything on our own. Seriously.
Now, is a portion of the sale going to like an organization for it?
So yes, the launch hasn't happened yet. It's happening very soon. But yes, as soon as we start selling, always there's going to be a portion given to different animal charities as we go. Different. There's so many, and we'll just pick different ones that we're believing in that need it at that time. Everybody needs it, but that we feel connected to at different months. And yeah, that's a big part of it for me.
I love the cover of this book and the packaging. Were you involved in the design process?
Yes. So short answer is yes. My husband and I had a very, very strong vision from the very beginning. And the cover of the book, this is the cover of the book. And it is based on a painting that my husband made for me the Christmas right after Griffin had died. He brought out this painting, which I have beside me. It's usually in the front of my house, hanging in the walls, but I brought it out to show you. It's this painting that he made me years and years ago. And it meant so much to me that I always kind of knew as time was going on that we would end up using it for the book. And it says so much about how I felt at that time. It's a little girl wearing, I'll show you the book because we adapted it for the book, but it's like a little girl wearing, that's me, because animals bring out such innocence in us, right? They make you feel young and always young. And because it's such pure love, the way you feel for an animal. And I'm wearing heavy boots, which I bring up a lot of these references in the book, but because heavy boots, life has us trudging along in heavy boots. That's what I say in the book, because I feel that animals kind of give you kind of a reprieve from all the sadness and heaviness and stressors of day-to-day life. And so he kind of incorporated so many things that I felt into that painting that I knew it had to be the cover of the book. We tried a few different things, but the other thing with the book is that, I definitely wanted it to be on beautiful, environmentally safe paper. I wanted the paper to be perfectly beautiful quality, so that people could put their photos in there and they would be sturdy and not move. And then at the back of the book, I kept a little pocket for anything extra that you might want to put in there. And I put a little note to the readers. I don't know, we wanted every detail to feel like a keepsake, not just a book. And I love books. I collect first editions of books, and I wanted people to have that same feeling with my book, and maybe even more, because that's why we did the embossed slipcase and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the packaging and how it all came together. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Now, what has been your favorite part of the book journey?
Oh my goodness. There have been so many wonderful parts. I loved, first of all, it was cathartic because that, you know, I tried so hard again to be authentic and vulnerable writing. And the book hasn't even come out yet, but I've been contacted by so many people who have needed some sort of outlet like how I needed. And connecting with people has been such an amazing part of this. And just hearing from other authors that we've sent it to a select amount of people so far. It's going to be going out to a lot more soon, but the feedback has been unbelievable. And that has been amazing. Because you're in your own cocoon while you're writing. You don't know if it, is this terrible? I don't know. I know it's true. I just don't know. You don't know. So hearing feedback and how much it's touching people already is just mind blowing to me. I literally have been reading emails from people and just tears pouring down my face, just going, wow, this feels really good, because it's one thing to create that's part of who I am. I always need to be creating something. And that feels great. But when you're connecting, that just takes it to a whole other level. That's the best part for me so far.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Reagan, I want to thank you for being on Book Hour and joining us today. Before you go, tell viewers if there will be more books or what projects you're working on or what you might appear in.
So for Griffin's Heart, I would definitely tell people to go click the notify me button on my Griffin's Heart page, griffinsheart.com. And so we can tell you when the book becomes available. That's my baby right now that is taking up all of my mind and time. And I'm so happy to be doing this. If you turn on your Hallmark, you're going to see me in a bunch of Christmas movies, whether you like it or not this year. And and then just hoping for things to get back to normal in the world and keep being busy.
Yeah. Now, if viewers want to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram at Reagan J. Pasternak. We have an Instagram page set up for the book, but that's more for if you want to share your story of your animal with me, which I would love. And that's Griffin's Heart, the book, at Griffin's Heart, the book.
Okay. You heard Reagan. Go check her out now. All of her social media handles are in the description below. Reagan, thank you so much for being on Book Hour. And for those watching, I hope you have a great day.
Thanks so much, Carly.